Alright, welcome back everyone. Today we're going to be showing you how to make a crew neck sweatshirt, and we actually are going to show you how to put a pocket on one. And if you don't want to do the pocket, you can skip past when we get to that part, but this is a really easy project and I recommend having a serger for this project. If you don't, you can use a zigzag stitch, and other than that, let's just get started. Alright, so this is our pattern. We made this pattern just here at the store. You can go to any hobby store or fabric store and find a crew neck pattern that's pretty easy to come by, or you can cut up and mold a sweater that you like. And I mean, not that you don't like it, but if you like the fit of it, you can make a ton out of that pattern, and you can even use the measurements if you want from that. It's a pretty simple pattern, but we already went ahead and traced ours, and we're going to cut it out. And make sure when you get up at the neckline, I always just cut straight across because you don't want this deep neck part in front and in back. It's going to turn out weird. So you have a different pattern for the back piece, but this is just how we cut it, so we don't have to cut two at two separate times. It just takes a lot of time. So be careful when you get up towards the neckline, just cut straight across. And then you can cut your top layer with the deep neck, and then have a separate pattern for the back part of the neck. For the back, we just eyeballed that. Probably gonna go back and rework it, but this is, I just want to show you, this is what it's kind of gonna look like. It's gonna be a lot shallower than the front, and we're gonna go back and remeasure that, but essentially your back is gonna look similar to that. And yeah, just make sure don't cut both that front deep, or else it's gonna turn out really weird. That is it right there. Our sleeves are a little longer because that's the style we go for. We have a little bit longer of a sleeve. It all depends on what look you're going for and what pattern you're using. It's really easy to adjust. If you're going for a longer sleeve, it's easier to just add on and kind of taper it how you want based on how big you want the cuffs to go around your wrist. And the length of your actual garment is easier to add on. And also take into account you're going to be adding ribbing on, so that's going to add, depending on how long you want your ribbing, a couple inches. And other than that, you're pretty much ready to go from here. And then we're gonna take sort of sewing machine and show you how to start. All right, we're gonna show you how to add a pocket onto your crew neck. And if you don't wanna do this to yours, you can skip past until we get to the point where it shows you how to sew the actual front pieces together. But if you wanna learn how to do this, then we're going to show you how to put a square pocket on the front, and this is a little different than most people do it, but it looks really nice and clean in the end. And what you're going to want to do is figure out the size of your pocket, like where do you want it to be on your shirt, and pretty much where you want your hands to fall into it. And for ours, we did ours just about 15 inches across, so it's going to be about 14 after this is sewn together, because this is two pieces here. We're going to sew that together. It's just a nicer look. A lot of people do one piece of fabric, and I think that looks kind of cheesy. So we're doing two pieces, and it's 15 by 11, and we're going to have ours start at 9 inches up. And we just made it extra long just to reach the bottom to hit the ribbing. So you're gonna wanna add at least an inch on to the length of it, and then, or the height, and then from there, there are the 9 inches up, so we made a line across and just cut the top layer here, and we're gonna cut that all the way across. And that was just the top again, so do that, figure out how high you want it, and from there, we're gonna show you how to sew the pocket up and sew it on here, and then we'll continue on finishing up the garment. And if you don't wanna see this part, just skip ahead. All right, so now this is the pocket right here, and you're just gonna wanna sew the side edges, and this is where your hands are gonna be going in. You put your right sides together. We're actually using the opposite side of the fabric for this part, just to give it a little different look. So you're just gonna sew those edges, and then we will show you the next step. All right, now that you have this sewn together, and in the last clip we used a serger. If you don't have a serger, you can just use zigzag on your domestic machine or whatever you're using. It'll be fine. This is just really stretchy fabric, and if you're looking at making these a lot, you're gonna wanna get a serger because your thread's gonna snap when you're using stretchier fabric if you're using just a straight stitch, but a zigzag will work just fine. So flip it inside out, and you're gonna top stitch the edges that you just sewn. All right, so now we have our front piece here that we cut, and we're gonna place our pocket on that edge, and we went ahead and marked where to make it centered, and we're gonna place that in the center there, just like that, and then take your bottom piece and sandwich it together with the right sides facing each other, and then you're gonna sew along that edge right there, and your pocket will be sealed right in there. And for this part, we're using a serger again, and like I said, you can use if you only have a zigzag will work because that can add some stretch to the stitch. And if you need to pin it, you can go ahead and pin it. I'm just gonna pin our edges in there to make sure that pocket stays. Centered. There we go. And yep, just sew that edge there. Alright, so now we're back to the single stitch, and we're just going to sew up the bottom here of these both pockets so you have an actual pocket there and it's adhered to the garment. And you could also top stitch this seam up here. We're not going to with this fabric just because it's a little fluffy, so it would make the stitch look a little weird. And other than that, just secure the bottom and make sure you do a nice tack. And for this part, you can go up as high as you want. We only went up about 2 inches. Alright, so now we have, if you're skipping the pocket, this is where you're going to want to start. You have your back panel and then your front panel. Place the right sides together, and then you're going to want to just stitch the shoulders together. And we're using a serger here, so if you skipped ahead, I explained it before, but if you don't have a serger, you can use a zigzag stitch and just stitch these shoulders together. Then once you have those stitched, if you're working with a different type of fabric, like more fleece type, I'd recommend top stitching. We're not actually going to for this one because the fabric is a little fuzzy and it'll just make it look kind of weird, and we're going for a seamless look on this. And I would recommend top stitching if you are using a different type of fabric. It just helps secure that shoulder. Other than that, we can move on to the next step, and that's going to be putting on the arms. Alright, so here we have the garment spread out, and this is your shoulder, and this is the whole arm opening right here. And you're going to want to take your arm piece and place that on with the right sides of the fabric, which would be this way, but we're actually going to switch it up so that this is going to be on the outside just for the arms. And then we're going to lay that across there and just start sewing and gradually get down. You can pin this all if you want, but if you measured it correctly, it will end up being the right size based on your pattern. Alright, we're going to show you top stitching up around the arm, and I definitely recommend this part too. It just adds a little bit of security for a longer lasting garment. That's it, top stitch. You do the same to the other side. We're not going to show it, but that is what the final. Alright, so now at this point, put your right sides together, and then you're going to want to sew all the way from the bottom up through to the arm and to the end there, in just one big seam here, and do the same to the other side. Alright, so now you're going to want to make your cuffs, and this is ribbing, and this is going to be for the bottom, and what you are going to want to do, it depends on how you want the fit to be. If you want it to be a tighter fit at the bottom, then you're going to want to go with a smaller ribbing so that will secure it on there. So our garment is about that wide at the bottom, and this is how much smaller we have our ribbing. So it will stretch out and pull in and be more snug fit. And same goes for the cuffs. And these are going to be sewn together like that, and then they're going to fold, so they're going to be actually a shorter cuff on there, and then this is the neckline right here, and that's going to be sewn together too. And it all depends for this part on all these. It's the same purpose applies. It depends on how snug you want it to fit. If you do the exact measurement with ribbing, it's probably going to turn out a little bit weird looking. You're always going to want to go a little bit smaller here, and that will add for that nice snug fit. So we're going to go ahead and just sew up. This came on a bolt, so we don't even have to sew these edges. It's already ready to go. And then for this, you want to put right sides together and sew the edges for the neckline and the cuffs. then what I found works best for the neckline, since it's more narrow and it's kind of hard to sew, just serging that edge definitely helps when putting it onto the garment. And if you don't have a serger, again, use a zigzag just to secure so all the edges are together. Alright, so now we're going to take our bottom cuff here, and this was folded over from the last shot, just like that, and that is going to be placed on the inside, the right sides together. And the best way to do this is one edge in that. And then go to your opposite edge. You're gonna pull it snug to find to make sure it's even all the way around, and then pin that over here. And then when you're sewing, you're gonna want to stretch it as you sew. So sew one half and then sew the other half. You do it all at once, but the way I look at it is when you're sewing it, you're pulling just that other pin, and then you can take that pin out and then you sew the rest, and it's going to be on there evenly. Alright, now we're going to show you how to put on the cuffs, and it's the same as the neckline and the bottom ribbing. You just fold that over, and you sew that with the right sides together, and I like to line up my seams together here, and that just something I've always done, and you can do it how you want. that pretty much wraps up this project. And again, if you want to top stitch along the neckline, the cuffs, I totally recommend that. We just didn't want to for this fabric because it bunches it up and looks kind of weird. And other than that, that is how you make a crew neck with a pocket, or if you skipped ahead and didn't add the pocket, you just made a crew neck. There you go. You can add lengths to the arms, to the sweatshirt, anything you want. Play around with it, find different fabrics, just make some unique stuff. And again, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, let us know what you think, and follow us on Instagram at Properfit Clothing, and we'll see you next time.